Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Hughes, and I'm the Alumni Relations Director for Homecoming 2020. We're so happy you're tuning in with us today, and I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of our panelists for taking time out of their day to do this event and give us a little more insight on their Penn State story. All of our panelists that you'll see today are former Grand Marshals or Honorary Grand Marshals from prior homecoming celebrations, and they each have given back to this community in unique and very extensive ways. They've used their Penn State experience to go above and beyond in all the work they do, while still finding time to stay true to their blue and white roots. We're excited to have them here with us, and so with that, I'd like to pass it on to my Grand Marshal and Honorary Grand Marshal Captain for Homecoming 2020, Sarah Ferriter, to introduce all of our panelists.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. My name is Sarah Ferriter, and I am Penn State Homecoming 2020's Grand Marshal and Honorary Grand Marshal Captain. Now let's introduce our panelists.
Hi, everybody. I am Paul Sharkey. I am a Penn State alumnus from 2002. I was a marketing and international business major. And the reason I chose Penn State was not only did I know it was an incredible academic institution, I also really wanted to watch some exciting Big Ten football, which I was able to see for 4 years in a row. We are.
And what do you do now?
State.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, sorry. And what do I do now? I work for United Healthcare here in Pennsylvania and lead our sales team in Pennsylvania, Southern New Jersey, and Delaware.
And I'm Martha Sharkey, and I am also part of the class of 2002. I was part of the College of Communications Advertising, and I am now the CEO and founder of Today is a Good Day, which is the organization Paul and I founded nearly 6 years ago. Why did I go to Penn State? Per usual, my parents were right in all that they told us to do. And my mother, I still remember her saying, you need to go to Penn State. You can do something 24 hours a day. Thankfully, I listened to her. It's the best decision I ever made.
I thought Martha was going to say to meet me, but I guess I was wrong.
Awesome. Welcome, you guys. Now we're going to hear from Lisa Salters.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Salters, and I graduated from Penn State in 1988, and I majored in broadcast journalism. I am currently a reporter at ESPN. And the reason that I went to Penn State is because I got accepted. So pretty much, I only applied to 3 schools. I got accepted to all of them, and I just thought that I would find a great fit at Penn State, and I'm glad that I did.
Great, welcome. And last but not least, we're going to hear from Sue Paterno.
I'm Sue Paterno. I came to Penn State because it felt like home. And I guess I took that seriously, and I never left once I came. I was an English lit major in the College of Arts. I also did a major in education so I could teach. And I did teach English to start, but then spent 50 years, almost 50 years tutoring. And I have 5 kids. I don't have a job currently. I'm out of the market. I'm out of the market with a 3rd kid. I have 17 grandchildren, and I hate the pandemic, but we're going to get rid of it soon. And what else do you want to know?
What year did you graduate?
Well, I actually was in the class of 62, but I graduated early in December of 61 because I had a scholarship to Brown for grad school.
Wow.
Which was going to start in January. But Joe talked me out of it, so I'm going to go. Good decision.
Yeah.
Great, welcome. So let's move into the first round of questions. Your life as a Penn State student here on campus. So first, we're going to start with Lisa for this question, and then we're going to open it up to everybody else. So Lisa, can you tell us a little bit about your academic career and mainly your favorite class and the hardest class that you had as a student?
Oh, well, certainly the hardest class was anything that had to do with science, chemistry, anything like that. That was just not my thing. I heard that Rocks for Jocks was the class to take just to get that prerequisite out. And I thought that was hard. So anything that had to do with science, I didn't like, or history. Those definitely were not my strong suits. My favorite classes were my journalism classes, where they taught us how to write articles, how to do news videos. We practiced doing live shots. It was right about the time that the School of Communications was starting to expand their studios, and they were getting all this equipment. It's not what it is today, but you know, I felt like I really did get a great education in the School of Communications at Penn State, and had a great time. You know, I played basketball as well, but I just always found time to do both, and I really enjoyed my classes at Penn State. Didn't enjoy always walking to them, but I enjoyed the classes.
Great, thank you. Would anybody else like to say what their favorite class or hardest class was at their time during their time at Penn State?
Could I ask a question of Lisa? Are you going to, have you seen the new Belisario setup in communications?
I have, and it's just incredible. It's like professional everything. And I thought, wow, that would have been cool had I been here for this. But just to see what they've done with the School of Communications and all of it is just so impressive. Yeah, I mean, the students are really so fortunate to have that.
Now, did you go to WPSU to do communication skills, or I guess
no, I did. So I was playing basketball, so it was really tough to do that. So what I did was I interned with Jerry Fisher in the summers. Okay. And so, yeah, so I stayed at campus a couple summers and did some stuff with the radio station. And so I got a lot of experience. And then after, I didn't play basketball my senior year. I was a walk-on. So I didn't play my senior year, and Jerry allowed me to be his color analyst for the women's basketball for that year. So that was a great experience too. Like I wasn't planning on being in sports after college. So as it turned out, I ended up in sports, but I did 12 years of news before that. But it was really, Jerry Fisher gave me just a lot of great opportunities, and you know, I always thank him for that.
Great, thank you, Lisa. Sue, a question for you. What was your favorite way to relieve stress after class when you were a student?
Ice cream.
Good choice.
Good answer.
You can still ice cream and chocolate and Pepsi. That takes away every stress. I made a rule about 3 weeks ago. I was talking to Dana Harris, Franco's wife, and she had made a rule she wasn't going to swear anymore. I said, how long did it last? And she said an hour. And so I made this rule one day: no ice cream before 10:30. I mean, before 11 o'clock. About 10:30.
AM or PM?
Yeah, right.
Before 11 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So about 10:30, I thought, I made that dumb rule.
Yeah.
And I got out the ice cream and said, don't make rules you don't want to keep. So and I didn't know that we had a lot of stress. Not like they have now.
Mm-hmm.
We had to be in so you didn't have a chance to get stressed. We were never allowed out of the dorms, frankly.
Sounds like today, Sue. Not allowed out of the dorms.
We had to stand at 8:15 at night. Wow. And I went home because I thought it's still light. We can't go out the door. We're trapped in the dorm from 8:15 on at night. I just thought that was. I grew up out of town. On 10 acres, so you didn't stay in the house that much, and it was hard for me. But after Thanksgiving, I thought I can get used to this because it was mid and dark.
Yeah,
it's very interesting. Thank you. So Paul and Martha, we have this awesome picture of you two from your wedding day with the Nittany Lion Shrine. What made you two want to get married at Penn State, and how was your day made extra special with it being here at State?
Wow. Well, actually, because Sue is on the Zoom with us, I actually have to share this part of our wedding story, which she probably doesn't know. But the year before we got married at the Eisenhower Chapel on campus, I proposed to Martha on Mount Nittany during Blue White Weekend. And the day after we got engaged, we were walking down the street, and all of a sudden, the Penn State football coach, Joe Paterno, is walking towards us with Peachy Paterno in his hand. And I went up to him and I said, "Coach, we just got engaged. It's the greatest. Look here, look at Martha." And he took a lick of ice cream and he went, "That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about." And I said, "This is like better than a papal blessing." It was amazing. So we always tell people that we ran into Coach Paterno the day after we got engaged. And then Martha, why don't you tell everybody about the best day of your life?
Oh, let me tell you all about the best day of my life. No, it was very memorable. And the weekend that we had gotten engaged up on Mount Nittany, after, by the way, Paul made me hike for 3 hours, okay, all around Mount Nittany.
It was the last time I had the upper hand in the relationship. I had to make her work for it.
Yes, but I think it was really...
Oh, you better never let him have the upper hand again.
That's right.
Right.
It was definitely that weekend. Paul had welcomed all of our family and many of our close friends to surprise me after we had gotten engaged on Mount Nittany. So he's really lucky that I said yes. But as we talked to our family and friends about it, and we looked at our parents and said, "We feel like we should get married up here. This is where it all began for us. This is where we got engaged. We love Penn State so much." And we decided really that weekend that we were going to get married at Penn State. I would say what made it extra special for us on the day we got married, which was what day, Paul?
May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, 2007.
I just want to make sure he didn't forget. But we had a dear friend of ours who was a Penn State cheerleader. And he came to the wedding, and as we got off of the trolley to go into the Atherton Hotel, as it was formerly known, there were 3 Penn State cheerleaders waiting for us to escort us into the reception with all of our family and friends. And so it was truly a memorable day, photos on the shrine, and we just had, it was great. It was great.
That's so cool. I'm glad you guys had that experience. So Lisa, were you involved in any clubs and organizations during your Penn State career?
Well, there wasn't a whole lot of time playing, being on the Lady Line basketball team. So that was the biggest organization but I was a part of the Black Student Union. I remember my roommate was a Lion ambassador. But really, it was basketball. It was go to school and play basketball. That's pretty much all I did.
Great. Does anybody else want to talk about their organizations or clubs that they were a part of?
I'll just give a shout out to Lion ambassadors. Lisa, I like your roommate already. I was a Lion ambassador, and Sue was always a big supporter of the Lion ambassadors as well. So that was my my number one non-academic activity at Penn State. And then I also participated in Greek life and was a member of Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity.
And I would also say Greek life was a major activity for me at Penn State. It was a great source of leadership opportunities, serving as president of Kappa Delta sorority and then moving on to Panhellenic Council, which really opened so many doors and helped build leadership skills and helped to get us ready for the real world after Penn State. But I'm always grateful for those opportunities that I had at the time.
And then finally, we were both really involved with Thon. Right. I feel like everybody at Penn State's really involved with Thon, which is amazing. So we were heavily involved there.
Great. Thank you. So now we're going to move into our quick fire round. So we're going to go Sharky's first, then Lisa, then Sue, just whichever of the two that you like better associated with Penn State. Okay. So first, living as a freshman, which did you prefer, the East Halls or the West Halls or anywhere else?
I was in South Halls.
Yeah, Martha did not have she got it easy being in South Halls freshman year. I was Sproul Hall, 9th floor in the high rise, walking across lot 80 in the freezing cold before the creamery was so close to East Halls. Mm-hmm. So I'm definitely partial to East Halls and the towers.
I was in Schultz, so I believe that's Pollock. Right?
Yep.
I don't know how you guys did it at East Halls. That to me just seemed, even now, it just seems like Siberia.
Right.
So right. I would say anywhere but East Halls.
I lived right next to the hub my freshman year. We were in the and there was ice cream after every meal. But it was last year, it was a dorm, but it wasn't a great place to live. There was one phone for like 18 girls. And no modern conveniences, what it boiled down to. But I don't know. I lived in McKee, and then I lived in South Hall. And it didn't matter where I lived. It was great.
All good choices. Okay, next we're going to move on to best dining commons. Which do you think was the best?
What was yours, Paul?
Yeah, when I wanted really good food, I'd go cross campus to West Halls. I thought West Halls always had the best food.
That's what I was going to say too.
Me too, West Halls. Once I joined the basketball team, I moved out. I was out there, and I was like, "This food is way much better out here."
Right.
Let's see. I was glad to go home to eat.
Nice. There you go. Even better.
That's a better option.
Yes.
No, it was all the same, but we couldn't go to other dorms. We had to eat where we were.
Yeah, I thought so too. I didn't think we were allowed to go to other dorms to eat. Were you guys allowed to, Sharkies?
Yes,
we could.
Yeah, but I think like maybe it was in the late 90s then, but they opened it up that any place on campus, your meal card or meal pass worked at any of the dining commons.
No, Sue and I were with the old school. Then no, you had to eat. You had to eat where you lived.
Right in the building.
Mm-hmm.
And sit where they told you. When you had to fill up tables, you weren't allowed to pick your seat.
Oh wow!
And be there before it was over, before the meal was over.
And no slacks unless it were finals.
Okay, next question: whiteout game or the stripe out game?
For me, pretty simple. Whiteout, I think, is just such a great, coming together of the Penn State community, current students, alumni, just the whole Penn State nation, and what it does to that stadium's incredible. So I'm a big fan of the whiteout.
You might want to know, I just talked to Guido D'Elia. He's the one that started the whiteout.
Oh, wonderful. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had a company called Mind Over Media, and that was in Pittsburgh. But he had worked at Penn State, not for Penn State, but as an outside contractor under way back in the early 70s. Then he came back. He had his own company. It was Mind Over Media, and if I ever had to pick a media genius, I'd pick Guido.
I remember a whiteout game in 2007 when we beat Notre Dame and Charlie Weiss at a whiteout game. It was incredible. It was incredible.
I would say whiteout for me. Whiteout for me too. I got to be in the stands as a reporter, a sideline reporter, and they put me right in the middle of the student section. I remember that was kind of how we opened, and they did a wide shot that came down into me. And I have a picture somewhere of that. I thought that was pretty amazing.
That gives me chills thinking about it, Lisa.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll have to find that picture.
Now, what do you prefer, Sarah?
I love the whiteout. I really do. It's just the best experience. I always get chills. And the fireworks. I do love the fireworks.
Nice.
You know what it is for me, though? I mean, and I show this to people all the time. When that drum major comes out and he goes up and then he does the flip and the split and salutes the alumni, I mean, that just fires me up. That is my all-time favorite part of the Penn State football experience is that. That's why you got to get there early. Make sure it's like, if I'm inviting people up there, it's like, no, we have to be in our seats and ready to go long before the game starts, because I make sure that everyone gets to see that.
Yeah.
And the good part about it never changes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so next question. If you could envision one monument to represent Penn State, what would it be? So example, Beaver Stadium, the Lion Shrine, Old Main, the Pennsylvania State University sign. Which one's your favorite?
Let's say the Shrine.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first, Paul.
Well, there's so many good ones, right? And one of the things, though, that I will say, and Sue, it's not just because you're on the Zoom. I'm going to say Paterno Library, because I think when we talk about Penn State, we talk about like all these incredible things. We're just talking about the whiteout and ice cream and the great food at the dining halls and the student body and all these things. And I think sometimes we forget it is an incredible academic institution, right? We produce people like Lisa Salters, Stu Paterno, Sarah Ferriter in a year. Paul Sharkey, I'm probably the worst on the call, but I really do. I remember when I went up for my freshman orientation, and this is actually before it was Petit Paterno Library, it's just Petit. And I just remember standing there looking up from, looking up the mall and just being really overwhelmed by Petit. So I'm gonna take the odd choice, but I think a good one.
And I'm going to say, I think all of the monuments at Penn State all have different memories depending on what you experience there, right? So the shrine to get photos, standing in front of Old Main. I remember Paul gave me my graduation gift, sitting in front of Old Main. So the memories that you associate with Penn State and the places that you are on campus really makes each of those monuments and those special places important for you personally.
But the one place you went, I'm sure that all of us went, and Sarah, you're going to go to, in your cap and gown, is to the Lion.
You got it.
That's right, absolutely.
Have you been in the library lately? We opened up a new section last year. It's phenomenal. The library gives me a high. Actually, I spent more time at the library than I did at the shrine.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's really. Have you been in? When last were you in the library?
Oh, it's probably been a couple years. We were up for homecoming, of course, last year, but it's been a couple of years. So we'd love to get back up.
You really ought to go see it. It's unbelievable. It's magic.
We like to take our daughters up a lot, really plant that seed early.
How old are they?
5 and almost 10.
Oh, nice.
Okay, and then the last quick fire question, where was your favorite place to study on campus?
So you want to start?
Okay, in bed. No, probably the library. I have to be honest with you. I went to, we had to be in the 8:15, and I needed the library a lot for my major. So on Saturdays, I was in the library, and the stadium was across the street. And then the next year it moved. But that was, the library.
Lisa?
My room.
Your
I'm
room.
just not a library person. I can study with anything going on. It doesn't matter the chaos around me. Just being in my room was always the place for me.
I spent a lot of time at the hub, but I also have vivid memories of sitting in the stacks studying. I went to the stacks and would sit at the desk by the windows and study.
I was third floor Paterno. That's where I could not study in my room. I got really distracted at the hub talking to people. Third floor Paterno. It was the closest to East Halls.
You fall asleep in your room. Am I right, Lisa? You fall asleep all the time.
Yeah.
Who, me? I fall asleep?
No. If I studied in my room, I fell asleep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know why. I'm the same now. It's just for me, just sit down in the living room. Every week, I feel like I'm studying for a final exam, studying for a game, for a football game. And it's just, I just get on my notes, sit down. Except now I drink wine while I study. I didn't do that when I was an undergrad.
Great. And then Sue, what has been your favorite memory being a Penn Stater?
All of them. All but one. I've loved it. We walked campus at night. It was just, you always wanted to see what was going on there because it was just fun walking around campus. And we took the kids, Joe and I would play tennis, but we walked with the kids and took them to the art museum. And the bribe was, if you look at the pictures and listen to everything I say, the creamery at that point was next door.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you listen to me and don't do anything you shouldn't do, we got ice cream cones. So it was, this place is just magic.
For sure.
It is.
Yeah.
I agree with Sue. All of them.
Yeah.
All of them but one. I agree
Right.
wholeheartedly.
Ditto. I'm actually gonna say meeting Martha
Oh,
for brownie
Big
points.
Big points for Paul tonight.
But Martha and I did not meet until our senior year, and yes, so it was very serendipitous that we met our senior year and started dating that year, and then
Danced on together.
we were at Thon together, and then ended up getting engaged 5 years later and married 6 years later on campus. So all of them, meeting Martha being the best.
Very good. You said that. I met Joe in the library. My freshman, he was running a study hall for the players. Because we'd been at 8:15 and they had practice and then they ate. I could see him 5 minutes at the library, and then I'd run down to McAllister.
Thank you so much, all of you, for sharing those experiences from your life being a student. Now we're going to move on to questions about your life as a Penn State alumni. So for all of you, what actions have you taken to show that you are Penn State proud to others since you've graduated and moved on to your adult and professional lives? We're going to start with the Sharkies first, then move to Lisa and Sue.
You want to go first?
Yes, so Martha and I are lifetime members of the Penn State Alumni Association. And before kids, we used to say we were going to make every bowl game and travel with the team and do all these things. Yeah, that kind of slowed down when the kids came. But in addition to being lifetime members of the Alumni Association and supporting the university, for me, it's that pride that Penn Staters walk around with every day and what they demonstrate every day in their daily life. So not one person at United Healthcare that I encountered doesn't know that I went to Penn State and how proud I am of the education and the community that I'm a part of. So much so that my boss, who's a Villanova alum, it's almost hard to deal with me and some of the other Penn Staters, especially during football season, because we make it known how Penn State proud we are. So just try to live by the example of the great things we were taught there as students.
And I would also say learning how to give back and the importance of giving back. So when we look at Penn State and Dance Marathon and how that seed is really planted early on in your education of Penn State, of how important it is to raise money, to give back to others, that has for sure stayed with us, not only from our upbringing with our families and the importance of doing for others, but really reinforced through our Penn State career, which then led us to start our own nonprofit organization to give back to others with babies in the neonatal intensive care unit. But I have to say, it also is a joke on our Today is a Good Day board of directors that there are way too many Penn Staters on the board.
There's no such thing.
There's no such, that's what we say. But oftentimes when our board members are going around introducing themselves, so many of them say, oh, and I went to Penn State, and I went to Penn State. But also the network that you can build. Once you meet a Penn Stater outside of the school years, college years, they can become lifelong friends. We have a friend we met at an alumni event in 2008. And we were at Penn State together, never met each other. She is one of our dearest friends. And that wouldn't have happened without that Penn State network and getting out there to meet others who graduated and have that same passion and pride for Penn State.
For me, I endowed a scholarship a few years ago. That was something that I always wanted to do. So I started off small and just had kind of a little itty bitty scholarship in the first few years when I was able to afford it. And then just a few years ago, I think it was like 4 years ago, finally was able to endow it. And so I'm pretty proud of that.
That's great.
But just like you guys were saying, I mean, just I see Penn Staters every weekend. So, you know, if I'm doing a Dallas game, it's like, oh, I can't wait to talk to Sean Lee. Chris Hogan, I think a post-game interview I did with him a few years ago. Before the interview, he was like, "Didn't you go to Penn State?" It's like, "Yeah." I didn't know he had, and so I was like, "Oh yeah, okay." I'm doing a virtual wine tasting event with Devin Still and his daughter
Oh,
Leah.
we'll see you there.
We'll see you there.
Oh, you're doing okay. So I'm
Yeah.
hosting that. That's
Nice.
tomorrow. Robbie Gold. I, for the past several years, have been hosting his golf tournament that he does. I don't think he's doing it this year, but the past 4 years, the golf tournament that he does for the Children's Hospital in Chicago. So, Bobby Ingram came up to me last night on the sidelines, on the Raven sidelines, just like, "Hey, Lise," and we happen to go to the same church. We both live in Baltimore.
Wow.
So, I mean, there are Penn Staters everywhere. And, I don't know why it should mean something just because you went to the same school, because there were different eras for most of these guys, but it just does. Whenever I see someone on the field that went to Penn State, or run across someone who went to Penn State, or see someone walking through the airport with the cap on, you just say, "We are," and you better get the Penn State response. It's just the way it is.
One of the things I tell the kids on the thon committee is, I hope what you learned here working on the thon committee, I hope when you graduate and go on to your next life, you have learned how to give back. And I think you just pointed that out, that's what got you going. I think that's the most important lesson you get from thon.
Yeah.
I get thon too. So.
Sue, is there anything that's very drastically different that's on campus now from when you were a student?
Oh, the clothes.
The clothes.
We had to wear skirts in the dining hall every night. Sunday we had to dress up. We weren't allowed to wear slacks. Only during finals we could wear slacks. The snow was deeper in the old days, and you're out there in a skirt and boots. But the clothes probably is drastic. The number of buildings and the looks of the building, they come one at a time, and you sort of put them in your repertoire. I think if you were away for a while and came back, it'd be hard for you to see it. But when it comes one at a time, since you've been away, have you seen anything different? I know downtown has changed. The charm is going away with all the high rises, but campus still, we've got to keep as much green space as we can. Have you played in the Arboretum yet?
We took the girls.
We
there.
did go to the Arboretum. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the construction. I agree with you. I think that the construction, just seeing how everything has changed over the years, not only downtown, but also on campus.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we were there at homecoming weekend, we needed to run and get some candy or something. And I thought, oh my goodness, we got to run out Atherton and go get that. And I went, no, we don't. There's a Target on Beaver. We can walk over there from the hotel. So those types of things that weren't there before.
Graham's candy store. Was that there when you were there? Was Graham's gone?
I think
I
Graham's
don't
may have been
think.
gone. I don't remember Graham's.
Allen Street, the jewelry store, and then the candy store. They had penny candy. Okay.
I wish that was still here.
Yes.
That's the best candy.
Yeah, to Sue's point about protecting green space on campus, it just seems like every time we're back, there's a new beautiful building, right, where IM fields were, where a parking lot was, and it's great, but I agree, we don't want to lose kind of, some of those areas of campus that we all hold so dear. Yeah.
I was crushed to find out that the college diner wasn't there anymore. Like, what? What?
Yeah.
That hurt. You can still get them. In fact, I think I got some out at Myers Dairy.
Oh, good. Myers
But
Dairy.
not
That's
grilled,
a
but
good
not
one.
grilled. I mean, where do you go for the grilled ones?
Right.
They don't taste the same, Lisa. They don't
do people
taste.
not do that? Do people not do that anymore? Is that
Oh, you gotta do it
too many
grilled.
carbs? Okay.
Paul and Martha, can you tell us a little bit about your favorite experience that you've had being a Penn State alumni back on campus?
Well, that one's pretty easy. Outside of our wedding day, when we had the opportunity to serve as honorary Grand Marshals last year, that was best highlight, and just we're so humbled and grateful for the opportunity to serve as the honorary Grand Marshals, and it was just incredible. I don't know if you can see, Sarah, but we had these jackets made for the homecoming parade last year, which was amazing. So being in the homecoming parade, going to the president's tailgate, being on the field for the homecoming game, I mean, watching, we were actually able to get in the tunnel. We were with the homecoming committee last year, and they said, just stand here on the side in the tunnel. Like, you're not coming out till the midway through the first quarter. And here comes Coach Franklin and the team, and we had this, bird's eye view of it. It was amazing. It was amazing. So that was by far the highlight. And at the time, 8 and 4-year-old didn't fully appreciate all the cool stuff they got to do that weekend, but we loved it. Definitely an incredible memory.
We kept telling them, take it all in, girls, take it all in. This is a once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah, they're sitting in the president's box during the game. They're like, we're so bored. We're like, you stop it right now. This will never happen again.
That was just an incredible experience. And I think some of our best memories after graduation, we went to several bowl games. We went down to Miami and Key West with friends for a bowl game in Florida.
Orange Bowl 06.
Yes.
And Key West was never the same after Penn State got through with it. We saw it. But
those memories, I think, going in an RV to a Penn State football game, parking on DU's lot in their yard. I mean, those types of memories post college are ones that we will never forget.
Thank you. I'm jealous of the jackets. I really am. Lisa, we have a picture of you giving the commencement speech for the College of Communications in 2016. Can you tell us a little bit more about this experience, being able to give the speech, writing it, and then presenting it to the graduates?
I mean, for me, that was the most humbling invitation that I've ever received in my life. And I remember just driving up to campus, and I didn't want anyone to come with me. My parents wanted to come. They wanted to bring my son. I was like, no, it's going to be too emotional. I just need to go do it, and then get to Green Bay, which is the game that I had to do that Monday. Wow. And I just remember thinking, driving through the mountains, like, how did this happen to me? When I left here, when I was 22 years old, I just wanted to make my university proud. I wanted to make my family proud. I wanted to make my friends proud. I just wanted to be just okay at whatever I did. I just wanted to do a good job at it. Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that I would have gotten to a place where the university would want to have me back as a commencement speaker. There was a lot of pressure because I knew that I didn't remember anything that my commencement speaker had said when I was 22. So I was like, you're already going into probably a losing situation, but it's not really what you say. It's kind of just being able to do it. But I tried to impart some words of wisdom that I thought that the students might be able to take with them. But by far, that was certainly the best memory for me. I could not have been more honored to have been asked to do that. But I do want to share one thing that happened to me once coming back that also just touched me and I carry with me a lot. One of the games that I came back, I did college football before I did pro football. So one of the games, I wasn't at Penn State a lot, but I did get back for a few games. And I remember being on the sidelines at halftime. And, sideline or halftime for me is generally a very busy time. I'm trying to get to both coaches, trying to figure out what's going on, what I'm going to say in my post halftime report. And, I'm trying to think, and I'm walking down the sideline, and it's like, all I heard was this woman yelling, "Hey, Lisa." And I'm thinking, what? Like, man, stop. I was like, stop. And I turned around and looked, and I was like, what? And she said, "Welcome home." And I was like, oh, and I was like, Thank you. Alex, she almost made me cry right there on the field. That is a memory that means a lot to me. That welcome home.
That's great.
That's awesome.
These next couple questions are open to all of you, so feel free to chime in with anything that you have to say. What is it like being a part of the largest alumni network?
No matter where you go, you're going to get a run into an alum. The one that I thought was weird for us, we were on our way from Germany to Austria. I'm German, so we had to do the German part. I'd done the Italian part. So anyhow, we were on our way, headed toward Salzburg, and I wanted to stop in a salt mine and go down in it. And so we did. It was in Königsberg, and you ride this, you put on these aprons and you go way, way down in. And I thought, oh my God, this is worse than an MRI. Why'd I do this? You don't know you're underground. But if you wanted to hear the little lecture in English, you went to one speaker. If you wanted to hear German, you went to another. So, of course, we're with two Penn Staters at the speaker listening to English. Now, that's the last place I ever thought I'd meet one. So, it doesn't matter where you go in the world, they're there. Am I right?
Yeah. Just to follow up on what Sue said, Martha and I went to Italy for our honeymoon in 2007, and we're in Rome, and we walked off the Piazza Navona, this beautiful square in Rome, and we're walking down this side street, and we look to the left, and there's this huge Penn State flag
Hanging outside of
this bar, and we walk in, and the owner of the bar has a Zeno's shirt on.
Unbelievable.
And apparently the Penn State architecture students had like made that their bar in Rome. And we ended up going there like 2 nights. We were in Rome. He knew all about State College. We had incredible conversations. And under the Penn State flag, it said Vini Vidi Vici. Like, we came, we saw, we conquered, which was pretty cool.
You know, students in photography used to go to Rome in the summer, and they stayed in an old palace in the Plaza Navona, and they had their flag out too. But
oh my gosh, so good.
I remember walking down that side street. I think I hit you so hard, and you thought we saw somebody that we knew, and we pointed out that Penn State flag. We couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that was awesome.
For me, I was in the bubble, just in the NBA bubble for 6 weeks, from like July to mid-August, and there are only a certain, because it's so, everything is so on lockdown there. There were only like 6 restaurants that the NBA had vetted that could deliver food to you. So one night I was like, okay, I'm gonna do pizza, and so I ordered from the place, do it all online. And I get the order in, comes, I go pick it up down in the lobby where I could pick it up. And there's all these Penn State napkins and cups and plasticware and paper plates, and a little note saying, we went to hey Lisa, we went to Penn State too, we are. And I was like, that's awesome. Amazing. I think I actually took a picture of that and tweeted it. I'm not a big social media person, but I think I tweeted that because I was like, now what are the odds of that?
That is great.
So cool that they said, hey, you don't have to bother doing this online anymore. Here's our number. Whenever you want pizza, just call us and we'll send it to you.
That's great.
where were you, Lisa?
It was the 1000 Degrees Pizza, and I was in Orlando, and it was in Orlando. I still have the guy's phone number. I think his name was Olney.
You couldn't even go to ride the rides.
What's that? No, I was in the the NBA halted the season, and then they started the season back up in this kind of bubble that they created where players can't come and go. So the media inside, we couldn't come and go either. We were there for the duration. I went and stayed for 6 weeks, and then I had to come out to do football. But those players were in there until they lost in the playoffs. And now the 2 teams are in the finals. They've been there since July 7th.
Wow.
Those guys have been in this bubble all that time. So that's just what we call it, the bubble.
I was actually in Santorini this summer, and I was walking up the side of the mountain with my mom with a little Penn State backpack on, and somebody screamed across, "Hey, you!" And I'm like, I'm in Greece. I don't know any of these people. He was like, "We are." So that was amazing.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
so great.
And then one last question for you guys. If you could thank Penn State for one thing, what would it be and why?
Well, I'm happy to start here, and I talk about it frequently. I thank Penn State for who I am today because of all of the leadership opportunities, the classes, the lessons learned, the friendships, the experiences. I met lifelong friends at Penn State who will be with me through thick and thin and have been through our personal life experiences with our families. But I credit Penn State a lot for who I am today. Of course, in addition to family and my parents and all of that, but going to Penn State made a big difference for me.
Yeah, I would say ditto. And just think about this group on this Zoom call, right? None of us have met before, and we're just instantly connected and getting along. And I feel like Penn State just kind of brings that out in you and instills in you this sense of community, that it doesn't matter if you're in Orlando or Greece or Italy or a salt mine, you have this kind of shared consciousness and shared ethos in terms of kind of what you should do. And I think for all of us, giving back is really important. And as Martha said earlier, I think, you learn that from your parents, you learn that from the communities you grow up in, and Penn State then just reinforces that and really kind of amps it up to set you out to be able to do that after you graduate.
Yeah, I thank Penn State for accepting my application. It was one of the best things that ever happened to me.
It's good for Penn State, too. Remember.
Agreed.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think we are all a collection of every encounter we have. We don't realize it at the time, but I did notice somebody must have told you not to throw candy from the car, from the convertible last year. Cheap. You have to throw candy, all the little
You
kids.
have to throw candy.
We did.
Yeah. We bought out the Target downtown.
I think it's if you walk away from here and you don't have that whole, it might hit you later, but I can't imagine walking away from here and not having that whole uplifting feeling. You get a high just that I get a high when I go in the library because of what it is, and to see all the students using it. I love seeing students come each year. They get younger and younger and younger, and I don't know my grandchildren, but whatever. But you are because of everybody around you and how you process it. And aren't we all lucky? We really are.
It's great to see how all of you guys continue to bleed blue and white and represent our university throughout your adult life and professional careers.
Thanks again, everyone, for joining today. We're looking forward to the time when we can all get together and reminisce on our Penn State journeys. But until then,
We are.
We are.
We are.